What's up, tribe? How you guys doing? This is your Love and Hip Hop Miami Season 2 Episode 9. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button. I hope you like this video. And to all my new subscribers, welcome, welcome, welcome. Let me know how you feel about this review in those comments. So look, the episode starts off where we have Amara. She's practicing her choreography. We have Prince. I believe Liz was there. Don't quote me. But Shay comes through. And basically they're talking about the whole Bobby, Amada, JoJo situation. The VMAs went down. JoJo and Bobby were on the red carpet. Bobby made some comments about Amada. JoJo laughed. Amada in her feelings, right? That's what it boils down to. Now, remember last week, Amada was saying, look, you got to pick one. You can't be friends with both. Like, you can't, and JoJo basically was like, I'm not going to pick. I'm going to be friends with both of y'all. I'm going to do what I want to do. But Amada decides that she's got to take her own advice. And she tried to give JoJo an ultimatum, so she has to take her own advice, and she has to do the same thing with Shay. And she basically decides to tell Shay, look, we can't be friends anymore. Right now, me and JoJo are going through something, but out of respect for my friendship with JoJo, because the two of y'all just can't seem to get along, I'm not going to be in the middle of it. And therefore, at this point, me and you need to part ways. And Shay's thing was, I tell you what, you're going to figure out who your real friends are, because she's not a friend to you. And it is what it is. Like, you do what you feel like you need to do. But just understand, she's not a friend. So, then we see the Pretty Ricky crew. They're getting ready for Specs' nuptials. Blue says that he going to take him to his spot where he get all his clothes from. And hook him up. Okay. Basically, the only thing with this whole Pretty Ricky situation is that Pleasure P done sent the group text from Australia basically saying, look, I ain't really trying to do this no more. Like, I'm not doing no performances. I ain't finishing the album. Good luck to y'all. Peace. So, of course, they confused because they like, when he left for Australia, we thought we were good. Now he's saying he had a conversation with his father and he ain't really down with it no more. So they just all confused. And later on in the episode, Baby Blue basically says to Spec, look, we ain't the first group to go from 4 to 3. And we can do that and still be successful. What you trying to do? Like, I feel like we need to keep this train moving with or without Pleasure. Now, my thing is, last week he said he laid down all his vocals. So for real, they could really put out an album with his voice on it, knowing he ain't gonna really participate in the touring. Y'all better go old school Temptation style and find y'all a replacement. All these old groups that's touring and then got but one original member and don't nobody know no better. Y'all better get it together. So we have that. So then we have Trick and Gunplay. They go on a podcast and they talk about some political issues. They talk about the NFL and the kneeling thing. Like, look, people blew it out of proportion. It's not about what people are saying it's about. But we know this is an old topic, but when they filmed this, it probably was still kind of going on. But the one thing that Trick was talking about was felons being able to vote. He said, it really hurt me that I couldn't vote in the last presidential election, because of the fact that I'm a felon. He said, because I feel like if I had been able to vote and some other felons had been able to vote, he might not be president. And he probably right. And we do know, if you follow politics, you know that in this last election, they did pass a referendum that would allow felons to be able to regain their voting rights in the state of Florida. So, happy for that. I don't think that voting should be something that should be so easily taken away from our citizens. Okay. Anyway, just because they made a mistake, they went to jail. My thing is, if you go to jail to serve your time, the purpose of going to jail is a punishment. Once that punishment is over, then it should be we back on an even slate. I think that what we do to felons in this country is too much, because you set them up for failure. I know in D.C. they passed a law a few years back that they had to take that part off of job applications, saying, are you a convicted felon? So they can't ask, at least on the interview like in the application process, they can't ask. Of course, they can always ask through the interview process, but at least it gets you a step further. At least it gets you in the door, right? So anyway, Then we had Bobby and JoJo have this scene. And look, this scene was so damn stupid. JoJo talking about everything's been going bad in her life. The store's not doing well. She's been feeling bad. All these horrible things are happening to her. So she went to see a spiritual advisor. And the spiritual advisor told her that somebody done put roots on her. Didn't call nobody by name, but said a person in your life who you consider to be like a sister put roots on you. What? I'm almost borderline offended. I'm almost borderline offended that we automatically make assumptions about people of a Latin descent dibbling dabbling in black magic or in voodoo. I mean, it's kind of like when you say, "Oh, everybody from New Orleans knows voodoo." You know what I'm saying? It's real to me that it's borderline disrespectful for that storyline because it's so stupid and it's such a dumb storyline. But I'm not even crazy about that. And of course, Bobby jumps on and tells my son, "Well, you need to clap back," because now they back and forth on Instagram talking about each other and all that. Well, you need to clap back on Amara. You need to let her know this and let her know that. You ain't to be played with, and you gotta do this and do that. Just hyping that whole shit up. Now, what clapping back with her on Instagram got to do with somebody having roots? If she got roots put on her, clapping back on Instagram ain't gonna stop none of that. So that just lets you know that whole that storyline is just stupid to me. But anyway, we'll deal with that later. Because it looks like next week they're going to go deeper into this whole root situation. But whatever. So, Trick. The other thing that came up was Trick was like, Chaotic had a nerve to ask me for a feature after he done took my wife out on a date. He was like, but I'm going to always support Miami artists, but I'm going to put him through something first. So I got something planned for him to make him prove to me how much he want this feature. And, and teach him a lesson about taking somebody's wife out when you want something from them. I said, well, you can't be mad at that one, Trick. You can't be mad. I mean, you can't be mad at Trick for that one, because that one actually, he right, Chaotic. You got some still cojones. But so Trick invites the fellas out to go lobster fishing. Now this was some real deep Miami shit we saw right there, right? I told you I used to visit Miami a lot. I didn't live in Miami. But they literally went into the beach, into the water, into a cove. I guess it's a well-known area that has a lot of lobsters. And they literally fished and got their lobster and cooked it right there on the beach, on the grill. I said, that is probably the best tasting lobster that you have ever had. That thing, look, I said, I ain't mad at it. I want some of that. I wanted some of that lobster. That lobster was probably the best thing they done ever had. That thing looked so good. Straight out the water. Honey. Anyway, but as they were talking, Trick said, look, I got something for y'all. If y'all want this feature from me, this is what you're going to have to do. We're going to have a cook-off. And if y'all want to cook off, you'll get that feature from me. But if you don't win the cook-off, oh well. So sad, too bad. When Chaotic was like, well, look, I know a little something about the kitchen. I'm not scared. Because, Trick Daddy has... he's actually becoming as known, if not more known, for his cooking and his, I think he has a line of seasonings or something. So everybody knows he can cook. And he was like, they were like, but we ain't, Chaotic was like, I ain't scared. I got a little something for you. He said, and if I win, I want a feature from you and I want Gunplay. Gunplay was like, all right. Because, they like, you ain't going to beat Trick, But it was a cute scene. They were getting along. Like I said, I can appreciate how Trick is handling it. He not like, you try to mess with my girl and I got an attitude and I'm going to cuss you out. I'm going to try to fight you. He like, I'm going to teach you a little lesson. I'm going to always support Miami artists, but I got a little lesson for you. All right. Amada is having a performance and she decided that it would be a good idea to invite Bobby and JoJo to her performance so they could talk it out and end the beef at your performance. You thought that was a good idea. You saw that going real smooth, huh? Okay. So, Prince is there with Liz. Prince said, look, everything's been going really good with me and Liz. Now that Bobby's out the way, it's actually a blessing in disguise that me and Bobby ain't cool no more because things have been going really well with my girl. Amada said, I got this new song I'm about to drop. I'm about to perform it. And when I'm done with that, I'm going to say what I got to say to JoJo. And we're going to get this situation straight. So her and JoJo get to talking. We see her perform. Everything's cool. Her and JoJo get to talking. And of course, it's just an argument. All they doing is yelling back and forth. And JoJo talking about something. I'm gonna do what I want to do, and I'm gonna be friends with who I want to be friends with. And Amara was like, "But you sat there and let him." She's like, "I've seen you walk away from people before because they were talking about me, and you weren't gonna be a part of it. But with Bobby, it's like he get to say whatever he want to say, and you don't feel like you need to defend me." JoJo was like, "Look, I'm going to say what I want to say." You know, she got that battery in her back now. I'm going to say, well, she always had that battery in her back. But I'm going to say what I want to say, and I'm going to do what I want to do, and you can't tell me what to say. And it was ridiculous. So then somewhere in the middle, here come Bobby with a wig on, right? Amara was like, "You got a wig with an afro wig." She was like, "That's so tired. Like, that's so played. That whole afro wig thing, it was last season, you know." And Bobby talking about someone, "I'm here now. What you got to say?" And of course, he starts going off and he starts being real extra, and it was a mess in the middle of the club, right? Right after her performance. Now, you know good and damn well if her manager had been there, if that had been a real performance and her manager had been there, he would have been so pissed off that you would put yourself in that situation publicly. And if it was a real scene, if it was a real situation, you know how many damn cell phones would have been there with them in the middle of this club arguing and losing their daggone mind. I said, this is a hot damn mess right here. That's what this is. And Bobby he took the wig off and threw it, and they threw the wig back. Then next thing you know, he throwing glasses and cups. It was a whole hot damn mess. And somewhere in the midst of the argument, I believe, I'm getting stuff mixed up, but I believe Bobby said something about you putting roots on JoJo. Amara was like, "What you talking about? I don't know nothing about I don't know nothing about no roots. What you talking about?" But that might be later on, y'all. I might be jumping ahead of myself. Anyway. Because I just think that's a stupid storyline, so I don't know. I don't even care. Alright, so that, and of course y'all know how that ended. Bobby got escorted out. JoJo left with Bobby, and that was pretty much the end of it. Boom, boom, boom. Alright, so, somehow or another, it was just a mess. Bobby was arguing with Liz. Bobby was arguing with Prince. It was just a mess. Bobby is just so extra, and this is so, it's just team too much. It's team too much. But then we see Veronica Vega meeting up with Chaotic in Hollywood. She said, "This is my first time meeting Chaotic, but I have heard all about him." And they talk about the court case again, him running from the police and all that. He done told that story about 4 times on this episode. So clearly his lawyer did not tell him that probably silence is the best thing right now, because he done told that story 50 million times in front of the camera. But anyway, they're trying to decide what they're going to make for this cook-off. And, because Chaotic was like, "Look, I'm part owner of this soul food restaurant. We got a pretty good reputation. I know what I'm doing a little bit." And they're trying to convince Veronica to be part of their team. Veronica was like, "I ain't going against Trick. Is you crazy? I ain't going up against Trick." So they decide, well, they want her to try to be, and she said, "Look, I don't know about this. I don't know about this." But she ends up coming to the event, right? We see a little event with Spectacular with his son. It's his son's 13th birthday, and it was cool. Nothing real big. He said his father didn't show up. His father's still talking about the group owe him something, and he's still feeling some kind of way because he feel like the group owe him. And I'm thinking, what the group owe you? Anyway, his father, I cannot with his father. I cannot. We see a quick little scene with Trick shopping. We got Gunplay and Michelle with him. And he talking about how Michelle know how to cook too. So she going to be on their team. Michelle Pooch, she going to be on Trick's team. So we are at the cook-off, honey. A few things go down at the cook-off. First of all, Chaotic then cleaned up a little bit. Just a little bit. He got the chef's coat on. He got the big chef's hat. His dreads are up in the hat. So you can see his face and everything. He look halfway decent. Veronica Vega shows up with Stephanie, the radio personality, and Prince is there with Liz, and everybody's there for this little cook-off, right? And Amara was supposed to be there. Oh, that's what it was. Trick was saying how he's interested in Amara, and he been reaching out to her, and he think that he's like, the next person I date, we gonna be friends first. So he said, he been reaching out to Amara, and he gonna try to be her friend for a while. Be her friend first. But he's definitely interested in Amada. And Gunplay gonna say in his confessional, Trick better watch his back with Amada, because all I did was say hi to her, and I broke up with my girlfriend. I said, you know what? It wasn't just Amada you was saying hi to, Gunplay. Okay. So Shay comes, Shay's there, and everybody's at the party, right? Everybody's at the party, and they let Shay know that, Amada and JoJo done fell out. She was like, it sure does feel good to be right. I tried to tell Amada that wasn't her friend, and they just talking about Bobby being team too much at the event the other night. You know how they do. They just rehashing everything. So Tip and Bobby show up, and Tip was like, look, we used to be the three amigos, me, Bobby, and Prince. They need to work this out and make up. She said, because every time we around each other now, I never know what to expect. Like, I never know whether this is going to be a good situation or they're going to be trying to fight. So they need to really clear the air, and they need to fix this whole situation up. So Bobby and Prince walk off to have a little private conversation or whatever. And basically, Bobby starts talking. He apologizes to Prince, but then he starts talking shit about Liz. And Prince is like, well, look, me and Liz are together. So if you can't accept the fact that me and Liz are together, or you can't respect the fact that me and Liz are together, then there's really no reason for us to conversate, because there's no need for us to even talk about it. And Bobby was like, well, hold on now. I wasn't really trying to be friends with you. I thought this was more like closure. And when he used that word closure, closure is the word you use for a relationship. Like, when you start talking about closure, you know what I'm saying? Y'all know what I'm saying. Closure is that closure. And Prince was like, oh, okay, cool. We ain't friends? Oh, that's what you say? Okay, cool. No problem. So then we see Trick finally shows up. Trick got a whole food truck, okay? Trick said, look, I'm not playing with y'all. I ain't showing up with no pots and pans. I am the pots and pans. He even got a shirt on that says, bitch, I am the pots and pans, or I'm in the pots and pans, or whatever. And he's there with his little food truck, honey. Game over, check and mate. I don't know what you go. He's making fried ribs. I have never heard of fried ribs. And to be perfectly honest with you, I don't know if I need to be eating no fried ribs. I'm sure it tastes good as hell. I'm sure they are. Mwah. But fried ribs? That's a lot. That is a lot. So Bobby decides, I got Tip and JoJo to make up. Me and Princeton cleared the air. I see Veronica Vega over there to the side. Let me see if I can get Veronica and JoJo to make up. So he takes JoJo over to Veronica, and he's like, look, I think y'all need to just squash this beef and clear the air. And Veronica was like, you know what? I agree. I want to just squash it too. And then she starts talking about, well, let's do a fight for charity, and if you win the fight, we'll squash it. But if you don't win the fight, then it's whatever. And I'm like, Veronica? Now, you said you wanted to squash the beef, but clearly you don't really want to squash this beef. Next thing you know, they get to arguing and throwing water bottles and trying to fight. Honey, a mess. JoJo calling Veronica a racist. Veronica calling JoJo plastic. Honey, it's a mess. It's a mess. But that's where the episode ended. So we'll see what go down next week. This ain't really give me a whole lot of messes what this gave me. But we'll see who wins the cook-off next week and all that good stuff. Y'all let me know what y'all think in them comments. Peace.